Good morning and welcome to TABC's first and hopefully only virtual open house. I'm Penina Seplowitz, the Director of Admissions, and on behalf of the TABC administration and faculty, we are thrilled to welcome you this morning. It's my distinct honor to introduce you to our head of school, Rabbi Shlomo Edelman.
Thank you, Penina. It is great to be here with you this morning. I am so excited for this opportunity to share an inside look at our yeshiva with the wider community. Although you can't be with us in our building now, we hope that as we roll out our program this morning, you will get a sense of what makes TABC the incredible place that it is.
By now, you should have received a view book in the mail, along with some other treats. Parents, I encourage you to spend some time with your sons and look at the view book together. It outlines all you need to know about TABC's core coursework and electives in both our Limudei Kodesh and General Studies programs, college guidance, Israel guidance, support services, enrichment opportunities, and extracurricular activities. Especially for first-time parents, the admissions process can be overwhelming. And in a year like this one, where everything is a little bit out of the box, we want you to know that the TABC admissions team is here to help you along the way. Our primary goal is to make this process seamless for you and your son. We are always available if you have any questions.
We certainly are. It is now my pleasure to formally begin this morning's program by introducing our Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Yosef Adler, a renowned Talmid Chacham, a gifted educator, and the visionary behind TABC's growth and success over the years.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to welcome you here today to our annual open house, although it's being handled in a somewhat unusual fashion, as everything else has been handled in an unusual fashion since the outbreak of COVID-19 in early March. A few weeks ago, we read once again the beginning of Sefer Bereshit, where the Torah tells us, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. God created in the beginning heaven and earth. There is an enormous debate as to whether this pasuk actually represents an act of creation, because the next pasuk starts, V'ha'aretz hayta tohu vavo, focuses on the earth, land, the world, as opposed to shamayim, which was the opening phrase in the first pasuk. So I'd like to suggest that Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz is the mission statement of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The world consists of so many different things. The earth, the cosmos, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to have a plan, just as everybody else engages in creating a plan before they engage in creation. So the mission statement of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is to create Shamayim va'aretz. Shamayim's the world of the spiritual, and there's ample documentation for that in the Midrash. And Aretz is the representative of everything that takes place here on earth. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to engage in the merger of spiritual life together with that which takes place on earth in a physical sense. And if you allow me to serve as a darshan, which I am quite frequently, I'd like to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a TABC student in mind when he thought of Shamayim va'aretz. In my many years at TABC, and I've been here since 1992, a TABC student represents a young man who is prepared upon the moment he leaves TABC to engage and interact with the world and everything else that it offers. Our students are prepared to go to the most prestigious colleges. Many of them choose Yeshiva University as an option for them to continue their learning as well. But they are prepared for all of their choices. And when going into the world, one has to be prepared in the various disciplines which they studied. But first and foremost, one has to have a sense of Shamayim, of spiritual life, of a recognition that God plays a role in our lives from the moment that we are created until the moment which arrives at which we've used the allotted time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has granted us in this world. And our students have been able to demonstrate this incredible combination and merger of Shamayim and Aretz. They are well-behaved young men who have and will continue to make enormous contributions to the world in which we live. They understand that the Torah will guide every decision that they make during the course of their lifetime. They are committed to Torah and mitzvot. They understand and respect serious learning. It's cool to be someone who comes to an extra mishmar. It's cool to be someone who comes to night seder every single night. Speak to Rabbi Moshe Tarragon at Gush Etzion. Speak to Rabbi Nussbacher at Shalavim. They will tell you that the guiding drive of their day-to-day programs are TABC students. That's their words, not my words. Speak to any college which our students have attended, and they will tell you how seriously they attend classes and how well they do academically. There are many, many choices. Thank God, many choices in the Bergen County community. Different types of schools. But I want to assure you that if you're looking for a child who is going to be a Ben Torah, Torah Academy is the address for your child. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our new head of school, in whom I have full confidence that he will guide TABC with understanding of what the mission statement of HaKadosh Baruch Hu was, picturing and imaging that TABC student, Rabbi Shlomo Edelman.
Thank you, Rabbi Adler, and hello again. What a world we are living in, where you will actually evaluate the many options available to you for the next 4 years from your living rooms. While it was wonderful to be able to see so many of you in person earlier this morning, it is equally exciting to see how many of you have logged on today to learn more about the school I have come to know and love over the last few months. The challenge of presenting a school over an internet stream is especially daunting when the school is so much more than just that. Yes, at TABC we educate, guiding young men to work to their highest potential and preparing them for post-secondary education and beyond. But TABC is not just an institution. It is a culture, it is a warmth and a feeling of belonging. It is a community and a brotherhood. It is 4 years of transformation from who you are to who you want to be. When you, Be'ezrat Hashem, walk into our building one day, you will see that it is a place our students and faculty want to be. There's a vibe and energy that is characterized by joy, humor, and connection. Culture, of course, doesn't just happen. It is created by thoughtful design. In Parshat Bamidbar, the Torah describes how the Bnei Yisrael camped while traveling in the desert. The Shvatim were set up, 3 in each direction. Shevet Levi camped on the inside, and the Mishkan was at the very center. And at the epicenter of the Mishkan was the Kodesh HaKodeshim, containing the Aron Kodesh. The Sforno explains that the lesson here is very clear. Torah must be central in our lives. As a matter of fact, not only was the Mishkan at the center of the encampment, but whenever the Bnei Yisrael traveled, those transporting the Mishkan traveled in the middle as well. This is the model upon which TABC is predicated. The centrality and primacy of Torah is at the heart of everything that we do. The TABC encampment consists of many tents as well. We have the academic tent, the student life tent, the guidance tent, the athletics tent, our extracurricular tent. You will hear about all of that and more this morning. But the common theme you will recognize is that everything is grounded in Torah. It is the driver of all that we do here. It is what facilitates our students' growth into well-rounded B'nai Torah and leaders who serve the community in Klal Yisrael. As we take you through the many facets of the student experience this morning, you will see that the lifeblood of TABC is the special people who comprise it. On that note, It is my pleasure to introduce our Limudei Kodesh principal, Rabbi Ezra Wiener.
Thank you, Rabbi Edelman. I think the secret of TABC can be revealed through the following thought that emerges from yesterday's Parsha and the episode that has captured the hearts and minds of so much of humanity who have studied this particular narrative of our scripture, namely the story of Akedat Yitzchak. The emotions are high, but from the text not necessarily discernible. And we chance upon the repetition of a phrase which begs interpretation. Avram and Yitzchak walked together to the Akedah, Tahar HaMoriah, and the pasuk states, "Vayeluchu shnehem yachdav." Yitzchak has the wood for the fire, Avram has the knife in his hand, and they walk together. Vayeluchu shnehem yachdav. And then Yitzchak asks, innocently, somewhat bewildered, "Father, behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the offering?" Avram responds, "My son, God will choose the lamb for the offering." And once again, we read, "Vayeluchu shnehem yachdav," they walk together. Many hold Yitzchak in profound esteem in their interpretation of this repetition, that despite his recognition that he was to be the offering, he walked together with his father in his devotion to God's will. He was not going to flee. He would not forsake this holy mission. I would like to suggest another interpretation of the repetition of Vayeluchu shnehem yachdav, that they walk together. Avram has been at the heart of our attention in his selflessness and his commitment to God through multiple tests, and with his ability to withstand them and serve as the exemplar of intense allegiance to God. But here Yitzchak demonstrates his zeal, his unparalleled devotion, and his willingness to sacrifice himself for God. He's 37 years old, and with this one act may have actually surpassed his father in his faithfulness, in his fidelity. But the pasuk testifies that even at this stage, even after this singular surrender of his soul, he walks together with his father. Vayeluchu shnehem yachdav. He continues to look to his father, his teacher, the one who initiated his introduction to monotheistic faith, for guidance, mentorship, love, and support. Vayeluchu shnehem yachdav. They continue to walk together. And that's what can be seen with the TABC teacher or Rabbi after our students have graduated, have married, have established themselves professionally, have built families, and in many cases have surpassed their teachers and Rebbeim in Torah scholarship, in community outreach, in serving humanity, in defending Am Yisrael as members of Tzahal, as Olim Chadashim, contributing to the ongoing settling of our homeland with their families. Many have become community leaders in our own communities here in the metropolitan area. We're so proud of their accomplishments, but we still walk together, sometimes physically, sometimes figuratively. They still seek guidance and direction from their TABC teachers and Rebbeim in their personal and religious lives. Vayeluchu shnehem yachdav. This is due to the strong bond, the enduring bond that began in these walls for 4 years. In fact, had it not been for the global pandemic, I would be flying to Israel in a few weeks to serve as Masada Kiddushin for a graduate who has made Aliyah, served in Tzahal, and plans on building his future in Medinat Yisrael. Indeed, we continue to walk side by side and delight in our students' accomplishments and continue to offer our mentorship, love, and unwavering support. I would now like to introduce TABC Junior, Alicia Markovitz.
Thank you, Rabbi Wiener. Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Markovitz, and I'm currently a junior here at TABC. It doesn't feel like so long ago that I was in the same position as you guys. Yes, I could relate to the stress of choosing the perfect high school to spend the next 4 years. It's important to understand the impact that these next years will have on your life. not only from an academic point of view, but also for your personal and spiritual growth. Each high school pivots you in a different direction that will be the path to your future. It guides you to which yeshiva you attend in Israel, which college you go to, graduate school, what job you get, what community you live in, and how you choose to raise your children. It shapes you as a person. First, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. As an 8th grader, I'd say it was very similar to many of you watching today. I went to Yeshivat Noam. I was on the basketball team. I had good grades, and I was always looking to have a great time. Overall, I'd say I was a pretty average kid. But at TBC, with the help of the faculty and my fellow students, I kid you not, my life changed. I discovered that being on the basketball team wasn't my only skill. TBC pushed me to become a leader. Freshman year, I knew I had chosen the right school and joined my new family. I built close relationships with my Rabbi and teachers. Outside of the classroom, they would take me out to lunch, play sports with me, and I had every single one of their numbers if I needed help with anything. I made tons of new friends from my grade and other grades. I got involved with an incredible club called the Israel Advocacy Club. Sophomore year, I became the vice president of the Israel Advocacy Club, which, by the way, is the biggest out of many clubs that TBC has to offer. I, along with other members of the club, went to Washington, D.C. twice just last year to learn from activists around the world to advocate on Israel's behalf. In addition, I was sophomore class representative and Pink Day ambassador. This year, I'm the president of the Israel Advocacy Club. I plan, I present, and I push people to get involved in something bigger than themselves. My point is, TBC transformed me from the average 8th grader into a leader and an active member of our family, the TBC family. The whole atmosphere here is geared to help you grow and mature. It is really just an amazing feeling to be in a school where you are surrounded by people that could change your life for the better. Personally, the biggest challenge of school during COVID-19 is not the masks or the plexiglass, but the separation of the school into cohorts. This necessary precaution has prevented us from the typical grade-to-grade interactions and makes me miss what is so unique to TBC. At TBC, freshmen are friends with seniors, and sophomores are friends with juniors. It doesn't matter what grade you're in. This is one family, one school. One of the many ways that this feeling of brotherhood is achieved is through our Limudei Kodesh classes. For Gemara, Mishnah, and Chumash, 9th and 10th grade learn together. Educationally, this is advantageous because there are many more tracks to really pinpoint the right level for you. But on a broader scale, TBC is purposely creating opportunities for closer relationships that span different grades. At TBC, the hallways are filled with high fives and hugs. Every school day brings with it fun and excitement. One of the most amazing parts of TBC is what happens after the school day. Every night, a large percentage of the school stays an extra hour for Night Seder. Night Seder is a great time for students to chazer, or review what they learned in Shir that day, choose a topic to learn with a chavrusa, or participate in a Shir given by one of our phenomenal Rabbeim. It is a great opportunity to learn Torah Lishma. Every month, TBC has a late night learning program, where students hear from a renowned speaker like Rabbi Lavi Greenspan or Rabbi Daniel Kalish. And of course, the food never disappoints. During sports season, students stay late to pack the pit and support our outstanding sports teams. You'll always find kids staying late in school for extracurricular activities like Model UN, chess, or the famed engineering club. Basically, the school building is always open for us, like a second home. My personal favorite times are the Friday night onegs. Students gather to sing, obviously, with Rabbeim and friends at different people's homes. We also have several Shabbatonim each year in different communities, kind of like taking TBC on the road. TBC is inclusive and engages everyone no matter what you like to do or where you live. To finish off, I'd like to emphasize a point I made earlier. By choosing to join TBC, you are choosing to join a family that cares for you, guides you, inspires you, helps you thrive academically and socially, helps you grow as a Ben Torah, and ultimately pushes you towards success. This family and brotherhood is sewn into everything TBC does. As 8th graders, this journey is just beginning, and you have 4 incredible years ahead of you, with unlimited possibilities for meaningful growth and new friendships to be made. I wish all of you the best of luck choosing the right school, and I hope to see many of you next year as new members of our TBC family. It is now my pleasure to invite you to view our featured TBC video presentation.
What began as a commitment to our students to provide an inspiring Limudei Kodesh and General Studies program in a challenging yet nurturing environment has exploded into a school where the academic opportunities are endless. Passion for Torah learning is palpable, and our school spirit is unparalleled. We are an institution that can weather any storm because we are a family, and most importantly, we celebrate the true gift that is our students. Welcome to TABC. Hello and welcome to TABC. I really wish that you could be here in person. Allow me to take you on a tour of our wonderful yeshiva. Let's walk the halls together, and you will discover what it is that makes this such a wonderful place.
We all have different paths here at TABC, but one thing unites us is that we all love to come to school every day, and we're all excited to learn.
First stop, the epicenter of our motivated and driven youth, where Torah permeates the building. Whether it's Tsurba D'Rabbanan, Night Seder, our Masmidim program, or scintillating Chavrusa learning, this is where it happens.
Freshman year, I will never forget my amazing Gemara class. I remember not just what my Rebbe taught, but how he taught it with his whole heart. Our Rebbeim understand our challenges and strengths and are there to help us achieve. We have several learning opportunities outside our regular Shir and Limudei Kodesh classes. In addition to Night Seder, where over 100 guys stay to learn, we have Tsorba D'Rabbanan during the Mincha break, and TABC offers a daily Rambam Chabura, Shnayim Mikra Chabura, and Pesachim B'Kiyos Chabura, where the yeshiva is going to complete the entire Masechta together.
On the way to our next stop, let me point out Rabbi Wiener's office. He is our Limudei Kodesh principal. Moving right along, our classrooms are outfitted with smartboard technology, light and airy. The brightness literally shines through at TABC.
We are essentially a one-floor school with all the classrooms and administrators on one floor. It's so easy to make new friends and to meet new kids.
My world history teacher makes the lessons come alive. My teachers are vibrant, passionate, and proud of what they teach.
I like all the different electives we could choose from in TABC, whether it's acting, coding, journalism, or studio art. We have hands-on instruction in all our classes. And with our smaller class sizes, it's easy to get to know my teachers and classmates.
Come along and explore our cutting-edge makerspace. Technology is a part of everyone's daily life, and at TABC we embrace that by creating an interactive classroom experience and empowering our students to engage in technology in high school and beyond, ultimately to make the world a better place.
In engineering class, we learned about multiple coding languages and electronics, and made prototypes of the inventions that we designed. We created our own STEM showcase, and then we competed as a school inside Innovation Day.
Let's head upstairs for a moment and check out our beautiful Beit Knesset.
We daven here each morning, and the Beit Knesset also provides a great environment for Chavrusa learning throughout the day.
Just across from the Beit Knesset is our Learning Center, where we have small classroom instruction, peer tutoring, and homework help. No tour of our building would be complete without our next stop. Beakers, burners, and other tools make the natural sciences come alive here in our science labs.
We have over 25 scholastic and athletic teams. That doesn't include clubs and newspapers. There is truly something for everyone at TABC.
We have an amazing athletics program and physical education curriculum. We have 2 state-of-the-art gyms, so there's plenty of room for all the action.
JV hockey, JV basketball, and varsity basketball were all co-champions this past year. Our ability to win displays how hard we work and how hard we play every single day. In my opinion, the most unique aspect of TABC sports are the coaches that guide us, mentor us, and give everyone the confidence to push each other to our limits.
Whether you're on a team or not, anyone can play TABC intramurals. It's really a great way to bond with your friends.
One of my favorite places in the building is the Storm Cafe, another quiet space for students to study, relax, or eat.
There are lots of ways to wind down at TABC. When we finish our work, of course. 2 gyms and ping pong tables, Storm Cafe Lounge, and even taking a walk on our campus are up the block.
It's just great to be able to walk up the block during our breaks. Sometimes I bump into my mom, which I know she loves.
All students can go out to lunch or bring lunch from home. Students that go out to lunch can go to any of the many restaurants that are just up the block. All freshmen have lunch at the same time, so they really get to know each other.
Student Council brings in Chinese and humble toast once a week. Also, something unique to TABC is that our Rabbi and faculty take us out to lunch. This really enhances the relationship we have with our teachers and Rabbi.
At TABC, we are a real community of learners. We rely on our friends to help guide us, and a large part of our high school experience is built upon the personal relationships we have with our Rabbi and teachers.
We participate in numerous chesed opportunities throughout the year, from sukkah building for the elderly, running a Hanukkah party for the OHEL community, or distributing food and clothing to the New York City homeless. I participate in the weekly Sinai Lunch Buddy program right here in our building. Being exposed to a variety of different types of students helps us create a real sensitivity to others and encourages a commitment to chesed.
Let's get a sneak peek of the guidance department. We have 5 full-time guidance counselors as well as grade deans, mechanchim, who are responsible for the welfare of our students, and we make sure not to let students fall through the cracks. Each student has a designated guidance counselor who meets with them throughout the year.
The entire guidance department has an open door policy, and I feel comfortable stopping by their offices anytime I need.
Welcome to our college guidance office. We have a robust and dedicated college guidance department. Our mission is helping students achieve success in getting to the college of their choice. Many of our students choose to attend a post-high school dual curriculum program like TABC, so they may go to YU, where many are recipients of the prestigious YU Honors Award, but we also have students attending secular college and Ivy League.
TABC's AP program is very comprehensive. For my junior and senior year, I was able to choose from a wide selection of advanced placement courses.
TABC's College Guidance Department hosts several programs for juniors, seniors, and their parents. Throughout the year, we get a chance to meet lots of different college representatives who come to TABC to speak to us about why their college or university may be right for us.
97% of our student body chooses to spend a gap year in Israel before college or university. There is something at TABC that words can't quite describe. Those little moments with friends, with Rabbeim and teachers, on a team, in a competition, acting in a play. It's the time that we feel the most alive. We are many, and yet we are one. We are more than a school. We're a home, a family. We are TABC. Thank you for joining us on a magical tour of our school. We hope that you were able to experience what it is that is so special about our yeshiva. We look forward to greeting you live and in person in the very near future.
I hope you enjoyed a glimpse into our home, our building, and a day in the life of a TABC student. You know, our students are not the only ones who look forward to going to school each day. Our faculty and administration truly enjoy coming to work because we know that the opportunity to enrich a student's life is priceless. TABC is undoubtedly an incredible place to be.
We are now going to embark on the session portion of our open house program. We have put together a sampling of presentations highlighting the many facets of TABC. First up, we have Mrs. Carrie Reichart, our multi-talented History Department Chair, as well as the architect of our Holocaust Studies program and Culinary Arts curriculum, and Mr. Josh Longo, English teacher extraordinaire, creative writer, and one of the newer additions to our esteemed faculty. Let's watch together.
Good morning. My name is Carrie Reichart, and I'm here this morning to speak to you about the TABC interdisciplinary approach to the humanities. In 9th grade, we begin world history. World history doesn't just mean global studies and such. We include a vast array of Jewish history components as well as English literature-related components. In the 9th grade, when we are doing early world history, the ancient periods, we use a lot of text from the Tanakh. We also use the Greek mythology and even some Shakespeare. In the 10th grade curriculum, we move on closer to more modern European history, and we focus on documents, a lot of critical analysis of documents, DBQs as they're referred to. We normally like to include field trips to museums to enhance the students' education and expose them to many artifacts that are out there. It's very important for our students to study history because they will not only learn to read from texts and analyze them, but the point is to get them to think. That's one of our goals in here, big time at TABC. We really want our students to learn how to think. Due to popular request after American history a couple of years ago, students requested to learn more about finance and the world of economics. And of course, the TABC administration responded by implementing a senior elective, Introduction to Economics and Financial Literacy. In that course, we hope to integrate both the micro and the macroeconomics for the students. We teach them the practical skills that they'll learn for life in terms of microeconomics and managing their finances, as well as macroeconomic theory for them to understand really what is going on within the global economy and to think of the bigger picture. Once again, critical thinking skills are important and stressed as well. Now on to the subject closest and dearest to my heart, the Holocaust Studies program at TABC, which was initiated some 13 years ago. In that program, what we hope to do is not only to teach the students about the events of the Holocaust, but really acquaint them with what life was like in Europe pre-Holocaust, for them to learn about the world which was lost, not just the history of anti-Semitism, but we even include some components of Yiddish language skills, learning about life in the shtetl. We even do it through literature, artwork, poetry, and even music as well. In addition to that, 2 years ago, my colleague, Rebecca Lopkin, director of the Performing Arts at TABC, and myself initiated a new program to TABC entitled Bear Witness. In that program, we hope to basically beat the clock. Unfortunately, we are losing so many of our survivors who are able to come and address the students, and we have students create their own scripted vignettes of the moments in those Holocaust survivors' lives which touched them the most. This is truly project-based learning because the students from the very beginning are learning script writing technique, interview skills, and then finally the culmination is ideally in a live performance. We've done it both ways. This past spring, due to COVID, we had to do it by film, but the students bring to life the stories that they have heard. And finally, culinary arts. Well, as I tell the students every year, we know that Jews and food go together. And what a better way than in this elective to incorporate once again the many topics, the many subjects that are offered at TABC. We have Rabbeim come in and discuss halachic issues with the students involving kashrut and such. And of course, the history teacher in me can't resist to give them backgrounds on all the cuisine that we're about to do. We give them a historical background of the Jewish communities in those regions which we are covering. One of the highlights of that course was last year we initiated a program with Rockley Nursing Home, and where we actually went to the commercial kitchen, had the boys working with executive chefs, and learned how to operate in a huge setting like that. Not only was that a learning experience, but what a chesed project when the students could mingle in the dining rooms with these seniors, serve them, and learn about their stories and what they had to offer. As you can see, we have a very well-rounded history program, electives program that is incorporating all the humanities as far as our learning. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Joshua Longo, and I'm an English teacher here at TABC, and very excited to intro to you the English courses that we have for your boys. Freshman, sophomore, and junior year focus on American Lit, British Lit, and an introduction to international literature, which culminates senior year with a writing course, which is very important to get the boys ready to go off to college. We have a real holistic approach to learning. We really want to bring the boys into the literature and develop a real love for the words and a love for the language. We have a lot of projects that the boys work on. We have a lot of group work that the kids do together, which is very exciting and really develops a love for the material. Just to give you an example of what life can be like in the classroom and hopefully how fun it can be for them, I've chosen a passage today from an author that we do every year, all 4 years. Students always read something from Shakespeare. So for today's passage, I thought it would be appropriate to pick something of a father giving advice to his son. So it's a scene in Hamlet, and Polonius is speaking to his son Laertes as he's getting off to go to college. And, you know, a lot of the boys here will be getting ready to go off to college soon, too. So we thought it would be a little bit of an appropriate scene. So here's how we start the scene. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy. Rich, not gaudy. For the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. And most important, this above all, to thine own self be true. So we have this little scene here where Polonius speaks to his son and tries to impart on him the advice as he gets ready to go off to college. Think before you speak. Listen to others' opinions and value them. Don't act without thinking. Don't dress too gaudy. Don't borrow money from your friends or you're going to lose the money and the friends. And most importantly, to yourself be true. So this is just a small passage that we'll use in class, and students will work in groups and read it together and discuss it and relate it back to their own lives. What's it going to be like for them when they go off to college? What's it going to be like for them when they're away from home? And we want them to use all of the literature that they've read all 4 years at TABC and develop a love and understanding for it so it can help them in future years. Thank you very much.
Next up, please welcome Mrs. Danira Goldenberg and Mr. Aryeh Tiffenbraun. Mrs. Goldenberg is the chair of our science department and the director of TABC's Distinguished Scholars Program. Mr. Tiffenbraun is our STEM coordinator and EdTech facilitator. Together with their colleagues, they keep TABC at the forefront of science and technology. Let's check it out.
Hi, and welcome to Biotechnology and STEM. My name is Danira Goldenberg, and I'm excited to shed light on some of the amazing things we're doing with our students here at TABC. While my specialty is biology, our goal across all of the sciences is to make the subject matter come alive. There are so many amazing new breakthroughs in the field of science. We want our students to be able to take these concepts out of the textbook and make them much more relatable. As the field is always evolving, we want our students to understand the latest concepts. My focus here today will be on biotechnology. Biotechnology is an amazing area of science that students really enjoy learning about. We've been modifying organisms for hundreds of years, but it's really only in the past few decades that we figured out how to transfer genes from one organism to another, an area known as genetic engineering. We've come a long way since the work of Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohn in 1972, when they genetically modified the first E. coli bacterium. We're at the point today where we can create components or whole organisms by synthesizing the entire human genome, an area of science known as synthetic biology. So how do we analyze these concepts in the classroom? Where does it all begin? We begin an in-depth understanding of genetic engineering by looking at the three-dimensional structure of DNA. Students prepare a timeline of the history of the discovery of DNA with the work of Rosalind Franklin, Watson and Crick, and other famous scientists. Rosalind Franklin is famous for using a technique known as X-ray crystallography, was she was able to identify the structure of DNA. As you can see on the slide, her famous photo 51, you would be able to see the helical pattern that was identified from this technique. At times, it can be really challenging for students to understand and be able to visualize these concepts that are in the microscopic world. They seem way too abstract. But by using certain lab techniques, we can take these concepts and make them more concrete for the students. If you could feel DNA, if you could see it, if you could isolate it from the cell. One of the more exciting labs that we do here at TABC is known as DNA extraction, which I will be demonstrating for you today. DNA extraction is of utmost importance in the ability to identify disease genes, to develop diagnostic and drugs. It is a technique that is being used in major labs across the world. There are an incredible amount of applications using this technique. You can see here on the slide many of those applications of this laboratory technique. What's amazing is that we all share the same basic building blocks. DNA tells our body what to do and how to behave. Something as simple as a strawberry has an abundance of DNA. And students can work with strawberries, extract their DNA, and be able to apply these concepts to major medical breakthroughs in the field of genetics. They'll collaborate, they'll think analytically about how to utilize this technique in pharmaceuticals, agriculture, industry, and so much more. We begin by physically mashing the cell wall of the strawberry to break down the cell wall of that plant cell. We'll then add a buffer solution made up of detergent-like chemicals to dismantle or lyse the cell membrane to basically free up the DNA. A thorough understanding of cell parts and organelles is critical for students to understand the need for every step in the extraction process. As you can see on the slides, there are many protective layers that the DNA is housed within. We need to break down those layers to be able to isolate the DNA. The last step involves adding a cold ethanol solution to the strawberry cocktail vial to allow the DNA to precipitate out of the strawberry cocktail environment, which consists of a collection of proteins, lipids, and all other cellular debris. There you can see the DNA, cloudy-like material that has isolated itself from all the other parts of the cell. And then students can take a rod and spool thousands of strands of DNA onto the rod, onto this bamboo skewer. Takes a few attempts to get it right, and essentially simulate actual techniques that take place in state-of-the-art labs. And there you have it, DNA extraction of a strawberry. This lab is typically followed up with a discussion of how we can apply DNA extraction techniques to being able to identify genes, suspects at a crime scene, ancient DNA to reconstruct history, modifying our DNA for beneficial purposes, essentially all the different components of genetic engineering. We also want our students to have a Torah approach to science. Here at TABC, we feel that it is our obligation to expose our students to opinions of some of the latest poskim as they approach these topics in our classroom. A true Torah Umada approach to science. I hope I have given you a sense of some of our focus here in the sciences. I turn your attention to Mr. Aryeh Tiefenbrunn, STEM coordinator, who will share some of the exciting transformations going on in our math and sciences. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Mrs. Goldenberg, and thanks to all of you for joining us here today. My name's Mr. Aryeh Tiefenbrunn, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about TABC's holistic vision for STEM education. So the question I often get asked is, why STEM? What are these 4 letters? Why do I keep hearing them so much? Well, as you may know, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These 4 fields come together in a really synergistic way, and they pervade every aspect of our modern lives. So much of what we do every day relies on these fields. Additionally, learning in these fields promotes problem-solving and critical thinking faculties in our students. These are so important, and this is a big part of what we want to develop through our STEM curriculum. STEM jobs are also growing at an unparalleled rate. So many new opportunities are opening up every year that we want our students to be equipped to pursue. And most importantly, in a STEM class here at TABC, students will gain skills that will empower them to contribute to their communities throughout their lives. We offer a broad variety of interdisciplinary STEM classes here at TABC. Our 2-year curriculum for 9th and 10th graders, Principles of Engineering and Applied Engineering, are offered in conjunction with the SIGE curriculum, which we'll talk more about in a little bit, and they develop lots of skills that build on each other and that can be expanded further in the Advanced Engineering elective for 12th graders. Brand new for this year, we're running the AP Computer Science A curriculum as well. And additionally, the Adobe Creative Suite to embrace the more creative and artsy side of STEM, as well as our extracurricular opportunities, the engineering club and robotics team. Our year 1 and year 2 classes that we offer for 9th and 10th graders culminate in presentations at the SCIGE Innovation Day, which showcases our students' creativity and ingenuity with inventions that they came up with on their own. We teach our students to develop these inventions using the design thinking process. At the core of this process and its first step is empathizing with a user who might be using your product and what do they need out of it. They define a problem that the project is supposed to address. They come up with a solution, they build a prototype and test it. And most importantly, they run through these steps again if needed. This allows our students to come up with an idea and develop it to perfection. Another aspect of our STEM program at TABC is interdisciplinary collaboration. I work closely with teachers from all departments to ensure that this concept of design thinking and creative problem solving permeates our curriculum. In addition to our presentations at the SCIGE Innovation Day, which is more toward the global community, we have our TABC STEM Showcase at the end of every year where our students get to show off what they've done for their peers, for their parents, and for the TABC community at large. Last year's STEM Showcase had to be very different as students couldn't present their projects in person. They adapted impressively, creating beautiful websites that showcased their ideas with virtual prototypes and great presentations that showed off every aspect of their project, really gave over an idea of what they would have built had they been able to attend school in person. Our extracurricular STEM opportunities give our students a chance to shine outside of the classroom as well. The robotics team builds robots that have to compete in various competitions, whereas our engineering club is more focused on creation of projects for their own sake. Our students are encouraged to step up and take on mentorship and leadership roles as well. We've had programs with some of the local middle schools where they've both sent their students to come learn in our makerspace from our student mentors, and our students have gone out to visit other schools as well to share what they've learned and show off a little bit of this creative problem-solving approach that they've been able to engage in. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning, and I hope you've enjoyed this small window into what STEM is like here at TABC.
Now let's please give our attention to Rabbi Jonathan Kessel and Rabbi Daniel Friedman, two of our superstar Rebbeim who not only teach, but inspire our Talmidim inside and outside the classroom.
Good morning, everybody. The famous Mishnah to begin Masechta Peah tells us the words V'Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, that of all of the mitzvos in the Torah, the study of Torah is paramount. But one could wonder, what is the source of this mitzvah in the Torah, and how does it relate to the education that I hope that my son will receive in high school? The Torah tells us famously, as we all know, Vishinantam levanecha, that we should study with our sons. And the Sifrei, the Medrash Halacha, extends that from our biological children, indeed, to our students, Vishinantam levanecha, elu talmidecha. But this pasuk isn't just the source of the mitzvah, but in fact, in an exquisite demonstration of just how elegant Torah can be, this source encapsulates the methodology of Torah study as well. The Gemara in Kiddushin tells us, Al tikre vishinantem, ella vishilashtem. We shouldn't just understand vishinantem to sharpen our children and our students, but vishilashtem, chayev adam l'shalesh yama bushnosav. A person has to divide Torah study and Torah teaching into 3 different parts. And so in our yeshiva, we're so proud to be able to offer our students different disciplines of Torah knowledge, Vishilashtem, exactly as the Gemara says, Shlish b'mikra, Shlish b'mishnah, Shlish b'talmud, to give them a competence of fluency and appreciation of Torah shebechsav, of the written law, of Mishnah, of Yedios, of broad Torah erudition in all of the different disciplines, and Chadrei HaTorah, and indeed Shlish b'talmud, an ability to analyze and to plumb the depths of each and every topic, of each and every sugya in Shas. What's so fascinating about this threefold obligation is the language that the Rambam uses in delineating when a student is prepared to move on from this balanced course of study to something more focused. The Rambam says it depends on lefi rochav sheyesh belibo v'yishav dato, the heart and the mind of the individual Talmud. As Rebbeim, it is our sacred responsibility to engage the hearts and minds of each and every one of our Talmidim. And indeed, this motif is repeated throughout the Rambam's discussion in Hilchos Talmud Torah. In Perek Gimel, the Rambam tells us, Misha nisa'o libo l'kayim mitzvah zo kira'oi, a person whose heart moves them to fulfill this mitzvah in the maximal fashion, lo yasiach daito l'dvarim acherim. He cannot allow his mind to wander to other topics. And indeed, as Rebbeim, we seek to instill in our students a sense of kihem chayenu ve'orech chamenu, of the paramount value of Torah study and the capacity to concentrate on Torah and the ability to delve into, with utter focus, each and every area of Torah that they study. But we know when this relationship is formed properly, it doesn't just run in the direction of Rebbeim to Talmidim. That's where it starts. But like all equations, the reciprocal holds true. For the Rambam tells us at the end of Perek Vav of Hilchos Talmud Torah that Talmidim are mosifin chachmas harav umarchivin es libo. Talmidim have the capacity to indeed enhance the minds of their Rebbeim and to enhance and expand their hearts as well. It's those relationships here that are formed through the crucible of Torah study, through the rigorous application of all of the Darchei Hasvara, of all of Torah methodology. It's those relationships that are formed here that don't just stay here, but they last a lifetime. They go years and decades into the future, and they form the foundation of that lifelong Rebbe-Talmud relationship that your son will begin the very first day they enter our yeshiva.
Thank you so much for coming to this session where we discuss a little bit about how the Rabbeim and the students come together and become such a close unit like we have done in the past and we're going to continue to do. I want to touch upon a couple things that the Rabbeim do to make the Talmidim feel as though it's not just a regular class, but it's something where we get very close and the learning is enhanced because we're so close. Besides the fact that the classroom's always full of smiles and energetic learning, some things we do outside the classroom to help the classroom be so exciting and fun is every Rebbe has the ability, and every faculty member as well, has the ability to take the boys to lunch. And in fact, if you go to Queen Anne, you'll see, whether it's Sammy's, whether it's the Chinese store, whether it's the sushi store, whether it's EJ's, whether it's Dunkin' Donuts, there'll be a Rebbe there with 1, 2, 3 TABC students. And it's not just because we want a free lunch. Everyone wants a free lunch. It's also because we get to go ahead and understand and know the student that much better. You get to know us, we get to know you, and the classroom's going to be enhanced that much more. And also, like we said before, a free lunch is always good. A second thing we do to enhance the relationship between us and you is we will have sport games. Besides intramurals that we have where you're playing volleyball, basketball, football, even hockey in the end of the year, is that the Rabbeim will take out the entire class and we'll play softball, as I just did with my shir. Some people actually play kickball, and my shir just recently had a volleyball tournament, not just the fun of the volleyball tournament, but if you win, you get extra points on a test, which is always fun. So that's something that we do as well. And the last thing that comes to mind right now is trips. And not just your regular trips where I'm talking about, like we said, we go to sport games and we go to certain places of to eat somewhere, but we'll go on seriously amazing trips. Just recently, in the last 2-3 years since I've been here, I've taken 15 boys, 1 to South Carolina, 2 we went to Houston, and while we were there, obviously we saw a Rockets game, James Harden, that was fantastic. Recently, last year we went to Puerto Rico, that was obviously speaks for itself, and recently we went to New Orleans with 15 guys. While we were there, we helped cleaning up from the disaster of the hurricane, but we also had some fun. We went around to the different streets, we went around to different areas that were of interest to us that we could learn from besides the help of the cleaning up that we were doing. And of course, we went to a Pelicans game, which was fantastic, and we got onto the floor as well. So those are certain things that we do to help enhance the relationship. I want to really summarize this idea with one Gemara that we learned in Shir last year. The Gemara says that Rav Yossi was walking through the churva, through the destruction of Yerushalayim after it was destroyed. And what happened was, he, lo and behold, turns a corner and he sees Eliyahu Hanavi. It's pretty fun to see Eliyahu Hanavi. And Eliyahu Hanavi says to Rav Yossi, Shalom Aleichem Moiri. My Rebbe says, how are you? And Rav Yossi answers back, seeing Eliyahu Hanavi, Shalom Aleichem Rebbe Umori. He has to one-up him. Rebbe, my master. And then Eliyahu Hanavi says back to him, Bini, my son, and he tells him a halacha. So he asked in Shir, very strange. First, Eliyahu Hanavi, when he sees him, calls him a Rebbe. He says, you're my master, Rav Yossi. You're a Rebbe, someone I look up to, a great personality, someone deserving my respect. And then he calls him, the next sentence, Bini, my son. That's a big change. First, he's his Rebbe. A second later, he's Bini. What happened there? So one of the answers that we gave was actually this idea that I'm trying to express right now, is that if you ever want to teach in your classroom, if you ever want to have a connection with students like you, so it shouldn't just be, I'm the Rebbe and you're the little boy who I'm going to teach. That's not going to work. It has to be, you're also a Rebbe. You're also a Mori to me. You're someone who I'm also inspired by. You're someone that I respect. You're Rebbe Umori. And then after I know you, after I can get to know your personality, what I respect about you, by going to lunch, by going on trips, by playing sport games with you, inside the classroom, outside the classroom, knowing you well and having that beautiful relationship, then I can actually call you Bini, have you as a Talmud. So Mitzvah Hashem, we should be zochet to see each other in the flesh, in the classroom, around the hallways of beautiful TABC, and I look forward to greeting all of you when the school year starts next year.
For our final session, please welcome our student life team, who are there for our students in a myriad of ways throughout their high school journeys. Dr. Michael Atlas, Director of Student Support Services, Rabbi Stephen Finkelstein, Director of Guidance, Rav Yitzrabowski, Director of Student Activities and Athletics, and Mrs. Karen Weinberger, Director of College Guidance.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Michael Atlas, and as the Director of Student Support Services, I ensure that all students who have challenges with learning, those with ADHD and medical diagnoses, are properly supported so that they can achieve academic and personal success in their 4 years at TABC. Students do best when they are invested in the academic process, and so the first thing we do when we meet our students is build a relationship with them so that they feel supported and that we care about them. Support, which I will talk about in a moment, includes a broad range of services that we provide for students over the 4 years at TABC. One of the questions I get from parents is, will this support become a crutch for my son? And so our team works very hard to monitor students and to ensure that they are striving at all times. And finally, we empower. At the end of the 4 years, we want to ensure that our students are capable of navigating the academic experience on their own. In the Learning Center, we have 3 main objectives. The first is to ensure that students are transitioning to high school, which is often very challenging. We make sure that students are managing their materials. We create a system for them so that they can study and make sure that their assignments are completed on time. Additionally, when students get to high school, the content is extremely heavy. And so we do a lot of pre-teaching and reviewing of material in biology, math, history, and English so that students can achieve success in each of their courses. And finally, customized, each student has their own deficits that need remediation. And so whether it's reading or reading comprehension, help with writing or math, and certainly important executive functions, we ensure that those 3 objectives are taken care of. There are some students who do not need a daily period of support. Some students just need a weekly check-in to make sure that they're organized. Other students need help with writing, which is a very complicated task. And other students, which maybe it's not your son, need help organizing themselves, managing their time, and ensure that they are keeping up to date with their schoolwork. And finally, a homework center, which we started a couple of years ago. Students can do their work in school so that when they get home, they can relax. Who's providing all of this support? Our team is comprised of reading specialists, learning specialists, those with backgrounds in special education, and they work extremely hard monitoring each student's progress. Students in our Learning Center have a point person so that they can feel comfortable speaking to them about academic and personal issues. And finally, the process. Where does this all start? During the summer, we review every student's file, 504 plans, IEPs, report cards, and then we speak to each and every parent to set up a plan for the upcoming year, which is then monitored. Once a plan is created, we then communicate to each and every teacher that the student has to ensure the accommodations and modifications are properly implemented. If you have any questions or you want to speak about specific programs and services that we provide, feel free to email me, michael.atlas@tabc.org. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Stephen Finkelstein. I'm the Director of Guidance. What is guidance and what is our mission and what is our role here? I think to sum it up, I saw a comment by Rav Hirsch that really brings it all together. At the end of Sefer Bereshis, Yaakov Avinu is giving his brachas to his children before he passes away. And if you look carefully at the psukim, they're not really what we would call a bracha or a good wish or a blessing. They're characterizations. He's looking at each of his children and telling them, I know your challenges, I know your weaknesses, I know your strengths and opportunities as well. And if you think about it, when a father or someone cares about you, takes the time to really get to know you and to unlock your potential with your challenges and everything else that you have going for you, there's nothing more empowering than that message. Our mission in the guidance department at TABC is to get to know our students. Each morning, over 300 students come walking in the building. They're carrying their lunch, they're carrying their books, they're carrying their tefillin. They're also carrying with them challenges, anxieties, concerns, hopes, and aspirations. Our job is to invest the time to get to know each one of them, to help unlock their tremendous potential that they have. We don't do that alone, obviously. We work together with a team in the guidance department, as well as the grade deans or mechanchim, the grade advisor for the freshman year, along with hopefully a team of senior mentors. We work together with the administration, coordinating services with the support department. We work together with teachers, administrators, outside therapists, and doctors to make sure that there is no stone that's left unturned in making sure that the next 4 years of your son's life, they will be able to tap into their potential, build connections socially, emotionally, and to develop into the men that we hope to see 4 years from now. I look forward to working together with you and with your entire family over the 4 years of TABC. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out at any time, call or email. Happy to answer, talk, or discuss.
Okay, hi, I'm Rabbi, and I'm super excited to be speaking to you today. I am the Athletic Director and Director of Student Activities at TABC, and really I have a dream job. The goal is very simple, but especially important, and that is to make sure that the kids are happy at TABC. A happy kid is a productive kid and successful kid. And I view my job really as a person who is my mission to make every kid happy. Now, what makes a kid happy? You take 20 kids and it might mean 20 different things. So whether it's athletics, whether it's programs, whether it's clubs, the experience out of the classroom is focused very much on having the student be happy. As far as programming and activities go, we're constantly doing new things, whether it's new trips, bringing in special programs, keeping things fresh. The school year can get long at times, and I view it as my job to sort of plug in different things along the year to keep things exciting and fresh. One thing I'm very proud of at TABC is the commitment of the Rabbeim, the faculty, the administration on these programs. These extra activities are packed by faculty, administration, and everyone's happy to be there, which makes the experience all the greater. When it comes to sports, obviously playing on teams is great and a huge part of a high school experience. But one thing I'm super proud of here in TABC is the fan experience. I always tell the kids, I'm not on a team, and I love going to games. Our staff loves going to games. It's a party atmosphere, a little bit like Duke, if you've been to a Duke, North Carolina basketball game. It's a place you want to be. We have kids who come to every game who don't even like the sport that they're watching. It's an experience. It's a great way to hang out with friends, and it really is what makes TABC so special in my eyes. The clubs that we offer, whether it's extra learning, chesed, financial, you name it, it exists. Chess, so many different teams and clubs and opportunities for kids to showcase their skills and talents. And all of those things exist because of what I said in the beginning, is we want to create an atmosphere that's positive, it's fun, it's light, and we've seen that when students are put in that situation, they have a successful 4 years of high school. I can't wait to meet each and every one of you. Have a great rest of your day.
Hi, my name is Karen Weinberger, Director of College Guidance at TABC. College guidance at TABC is specifically tailored and personalized to each individual student. I work closely and collaboratively with each student to help advise them through every important step along the college application and selection process. This journey begins in 9th grade and continues throughout the student's high school career. I will get to know your son's academic strengths, talents, ambitions, and interests, so that I will be in the best position to guide each student to create a strong and compelling college application portfolio that matches the student's goals and aspirations. Our students are highly motivated, and many choose to apply and have been successfully admitted to prestigious universities, including the Ivies, as well as distinguished programs such as Yeshiva University's Honors Program and Macaulay Honors. I conduct college guidance programs for freshman and sophomore students, such as Roadmap to College Guidance, which provides a detailed overview of the college process and helpful information that students can use to start building their college resume. The process takes a more formal turn at the beginning of 11th grade, when students take the PSAT exam and practice ACT exam, followed by family college guidance meetings, which commence in early winter. We offer numerous other seminars and programs to help assist students and parents. College Writing Workshop, held in conjunction with the English department, instructs our students how to compose compelling, thoughtful, and unique college personal statements. How can we help our students truly stand out? College Application Night, a step-by-step tutorial regarding all aspects of the college application process. What does the coalition application look like? The common application look like? The Yeshiva University application look like? Financial Aid Night, in which we impart much useful knowledge on the college financial aid process. We also offer a robust college fair in which over 30 schools participate, boasting strong academics and vibrant Jewish life. My goal is to foster our students' intellectual and personal growth and to empower them to be able to go through this process with knowledge and confidence. The most important thing to know is that my door is always open, and I'm so happy to answer your questions. I hope I get the chance to meet your son.
You will now have an opportunity to ask questions in the comment box on the side of your screen. Please turn your attention to Mrs. Sharon Rifkind, our Director of Institutional Advancement and the moderator of this morning's open house panel.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I actually wear two hats here. I'm an administrator, and I'm also the parent of 2 recent graduates, so I might pipe in with some answers to questions also. First, I'm going to ask our panelists to please introduce themselves. We'll start with the Mermelsteins.
Hi, I'm Eitan Mermelstein. I'm a senior. Hi, my name is Ari Mermelstein.
Hi, I'm Ami Roseman. I'm a sophomore.
Hi, Akiva Roseman.
Hi, I'm Nomi Raplat. I'm the proud parent of 2 graduates and 2 current students.
And I'm Tzvi Raplat, class of 2015.
Hi, I'm Ezra Becker, a junior here.
Hi, Renee Becker, Ezra's mom, and mom of Noam Becker, who's an 8th grade student. Very excited to come join the TABC family.
Okay, great. So thank you for starting to send in your questions. As we organize them, I'm going to start with one that I had when I was a prospective parent here. And I wanted to know why people were choosing TABC. So Renee and Ezra, I'm going to start with you if you don't mind. Can you give us some of the top, say, 3 reasons that you chose TABC?
Okay, so my 3 reasons I chose TABC is my first is when I went to a hockey game or a sport game, the atmosphere was the most unique atmosphere I've ever been to. It was so energetic, so welcoming, and just it wasn't like any other. And my second reason is that when I came into school on the first day, every rabbi was welcoming, and it seemed like they just cared about me, and I haven't even known them, so it was a really welcoming school.
Well, my top reason is I strongly believe in supporting a school that's within your community, and not just because it's local or easily accessible, which definitely has its advantages when Ezra forgets his hockey stuff numerous times and I have to drop it off, but because there are many teachers and rabbis that live here within the community, and I knew that Ezra would be able to form his own strong ties and connection to the community that he lives in by going to TABC. And for those students that are not local, like we are, there are many opportunities both inside and outside of school that both parents and students can partake in and become part of the TABC family and be welcomed into this community.
Great, thank you. Okay, so as everybody knows, TABC is an all-boys school, and I thought maybe we could ask Eitan if you could talk to us a little bit about, one of the questions is, what do you like about an all-boys school?
I mean, the environment in an all-boys school is really special here. There's an achdus that really is all around the hallways that's really created in the classroom with the Judaic studies that are mixed between freshmen, sophomores, and juniors and seniors, and that really helps to foster a brotherhood that's manifest in so many aspects of the school.
I think that it's difficult enough for a high school teenager to navigate so many of the complexities of identity, of finding themselves, and I think that just taking out another element of peer pressure by putting boys together with each other, I think is another way for the boys really to find themselves, to really establish who they are, and to really bolster their confidence. At least that's what we've seen.
Would anybody else like to answer that question as well? I know for my boys, I'll just speak for us, it was very important for us to have them in a school where they could really feel comfortable and be themselves, and not worry about, some of the extras that teenagers have to worry about in high school also. And so I'll just speak with my parent hat for a moment. I think the all-boys experience for both of them in different ways was really very meaningful to them and really shaped sort of who they are, their chevra, and everything going forward. Okay, so now I want to just, I'll ask a question. Maybe Ami and Akiva, you want to talk to this about the extracurricular activities, particularly since you're from Riverdale. Talk a little bit about how that plays into being from not Bergen County.
At night, if I want to go to tryouts, new programs, skills and drills for hockey and basketball, if I want to go to Night Sitter, do anything else, 2 or 3 times a week, there's a late night transportation that I'm able to go to, and a driver picks me up and brings me to my house.
The programming, the school does offer a lot of extracurriculars, whether, besides academic, but also a lot of sports. If Ami wants to go to stay late to watch one of those teams play, almost every time, the opportunity is there for the school offers the late night busing, drops him off, within 1 block of the house. It's very easy to go get him, for him to walk home on his own. And you really don't feel that, he doesn't come, there's a game tonight, I'm going to miss it because I don't live in Teaneck. So he's never had that case where he felt like he wasn't one of the Teaneck guys, and because of that, he's going to miss out. He's always included if he wants to, and there are plenty of times where he went to friends' homes. He goes to friends' homes to sleep over for the night. If he feels for whatever reason he doesn't want to take the bus, but that bus is there. And even if we one time forget to sign up, whether Thursday night or Friday night or Monday night, whatever it is, if you make the phone call in, you can usually still get onto that bus, and it's really not a problem.
Great, thank you. So related to this question, another question very close is what programs are available to TABC students outside of the school day? So maybe Nomi and Svi, you can sort of piggyback on those answers and talk about some things that you've experienced as programs outside of the classroom.
Right. So as parents, when we were looking at high schools for our sons, one of the things that was important to my husband and me was to find a school that would help the kids identify their interests, their strengths, and help them develop them as part of their high school career experience. And We found that to be true at TABC for all of our sons, Baruch Hashem. I'll give you an example. Just last week, my son, who's a senior, has been a member of the Israel Advocacy Club for the last few years since he started here. And he gave a morning presentation to all the members of the club about the latest accords between Israel and the neighboring countries. That kind of development was amazing to see. It was an incredibly impressive presentation, but it allowed him to collaborate with his peers. It allowed him to be responsible for something and to build confidence in something that he chose to do and then ran with. Some of my other kids were on sports teams, and so it goes without saying that they made friends on those teams and that it taught them commitment and dedication to something bigger than themselves. The other families already alluded to the fact that even if your son, my son, is not on a team, their peers come out to support them. I can't even count on two hands how many times my kids said to me, "Can you take me back to school?" Or "Can a friend of mine from out of town sleep over because we want to go watch a game that their friends are playing on?" Even not their classmates, even if there was lower classmen and they said, "We got to go cheer on the little guys," while they were upperclassmen. There's that sense of support for each other. I remember one of my kids came home and said the chess team had a match, and the basketball guys were standing outside the window looking into the chess team, and every time they made a great move, they went wild. There's that support that they all give each other in the extracurriculars, whether it's a chesed initiative, collecting coats to give to homeless, or the sports teams, or college bowl, or writing for Kol Torah, whatever it is. The faculty here supports our students in pursuing their interests, and the boys support each other so that they can pursue whatever it is that they want to pursue. So those are the formal kinds of things. And then, of course, there are informal things that across the board, there's the Tikkun Lel Shavuos program that the schools open for the boys to learn all night. There's the Simchas Torah celebration that they have here in the yeshiva. There's the late night learnings that our kids have all participated in. And of course, there are the weekly onegs, where the Rabbeim get to bond with their Talmidim and the boys get to bond with each other. And those kinds of experience really are what shape our young men beyond what happens in the classroom. And that's what they take with them when they leave this building.
I'll just add, I guess, briefly. I definitely think that some of my fondest memories at TABC weren't just in the classroom with the great Rabbeim and teachers that I had, but we're definitely in the hallways at the games, after school, going out to lunch, whatever it was, with my friends, with my peers, with friends from different grades, with teachers. And I really think that it was those extracurricular and outside the classroom experiences which added so much to my holistic experience at TABC.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have a question that came up about college guidance. Eitan, you're a senior, so maybe you could tell us a little bit about the college guidance process.
For me personally, I know Mrs. Weinberger's experience as part of the YU admissions department has been really helpful. She really knows what I need to get done, how it needs to look, how my essays need to be formulated, how everything needs to be formatted. And she's been extremely helpful with me in my application process to YU. But for all of my friends that aren't going to YU or that are thinking about other colleges as well, she's been extremely helpful with them as well. She knows the collegiate process inside and out. She's been really helpful with them in finding the right scholarships that they should apply to, and again, really helping them with their essays. Just to build on that, I know over the years I built so many relationships with so many Rebbeim and teachers that it was hard to decide who I wanted to ask for a recommendation letter because I have so many close relationships.
Just to add one point, Eitan is in the process of applying right now, and I've been so impressed with the number of people that were willing to give him really critical feedback on the essays that he's writing. So he was able to find 3 different teachers, in addition to Mrs. Weinberger, who were so happy to read over his essays, and really, I think from beginning to end, the quality of his application was really bolstered so much because of the help that he found here.
Great, thank you. So while we're on the subject of college, we have our alumnus with us. So maybe, Svi, you can talk a little bit about how TABC prepared you for life beyond TABC, going to Israel and then college after that.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that both, as has been alluded to before, I think TBC very, very much prepared us and prepared us really well for both inside the classroom and outside the classroom for what we were going to face in yeshiva and in college. I personally had the opportunity to be in the YU Honors Program, and I felt at no point that TABC didn't amply prepare me, both in terms of the specific knowledge that I had the opportunity to learn while I was at TABC, but also in terms of the skills, whether it be writing, whether it be critical analysis from Gov or history or AP Psych. I still remember the things I learned in 9th grade bio, and that in the classroom type of learning, being able to interact with teachers who really cared about you and building your self-confidence in the classroom is something that I definitely took with myself from TABC and was able to apply later on down the line, both in the classroom and in the base medrash. And it's something that I've seen my friends as well. And in terms of outside of the classroom, I definitely think that I started TABC as an 8th grader, and I ended off very similar to the man that I am today, or young man, I guess. I think that really my chevra and some of my closest friends are still the guys who stayed over at my house when I was in 9th and 10th grade for the Tikkun Leil Shavuos or basketball games. I've had the opportunity to be at several classmates of mine's weddings and seeing TBC friends who either have gone in the same paths or have, found other paths that are equally as great come back together, just like old times, where never missing a beat, even if you haven't spoken to them in a year or 2 years, seeing the connection between Rebbeim and alumni, some of which they had very strong relationships with when they were in school, and some of which they perhaps didn't have the best relationship in school, but really over time, being there, Masada Kedushin or Eidei Kedushin, and being able to see them dance at their weddings has been like a really cool experience for me. And I've definitely noticed over the past couple of years how TBC really had such a formative impact on who I am today.
Great, thank you, Svi. So I think, one of the questions I have for you is if you could pick a highlight of your experience thus far in TABC, either as a student or alumnus or a parent. Since I haven't been over to the Beckers in a while, I'm going to ask you if you want to start with that.
I definitely have two. One is just coming to your TABC sport hockey game. My first game ever walking into the building. The energy is amazing. I came as a parent, as someone on the team, and I took a look around me and I realized it wasn't just for families. It was a school-wide event. You have every grade there. Everyone's cheering their friends on. And as I kept looking around the crowd, I realized that there were people even from the community there supporting me as someone who had a kid on the team. So that was just an amazing experience, feeling the energy and being a part of a game here at TABC. Another thing that I think is very memorable and unique to TABC is that the 9th and 10th grade boys learn together in their Judaic studies. And when he came in as a freshman, he didn't come here as a freshman, he came here as a student. Because the second he walked in the door, he was instantly greeted by all these sophomore boys that were in his class. They were there to guide him, study with him, and become his friends. And he would not have met with these boys ordinarily if they weren't in his class. And it just has a ripple effect because those boys then introduced him to the juniors who were sophomores to them. And within a few weeks of being at TABC, you know more than half the school instantly. So here you're just coming in and welcomed as a student, and you're not a freshman here, and you're part of the family.
My favorite highlight reel I've ever had in TBC was my first freshman Shabbaton at Camp Kaylee. When I heard about it, I was very nervous because I didn't have so many friends. It was like the second week of school. I just started learning and everything. I've never been in high school. But then once I came to Camp Kaylee with the freshman Shabbaton, after it ended, it probably was the best Shabbaton I've ever been on. I met so many new people. I made new friends. I met all the Rebbeim, and it was just really fun hanging out with the entire school.
Great. Thank you. Nomi, I know you had, I want to ask other highlight questions, but I know that you and I were talking just before about the joint shiurim. I know you wanted to talk about that as well.
If I can amplify something that on what Renee was saying, I remember when we started looking at being very skeptical about the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade shiurim, and thinking to myself, like Renee said, how my little freshman, he's going to walk into shiur, he's not going to ask any questions, he's going to be completely intimidated by these sophomores, how's he going to learn anything? And on the flip side, I'm thinking, how's my sophomore son going to learn anything with these little freshmen in his class? He's going to be held back by them. Isn't he way ahead? And I have to say, it just really works, to the point where, quite frankly, this year we all miss it. We the parents, we the students, I think the faculty, all miss that 9th, 10th grade together, and the 11th and 12th grade, because as Renee so beautifully said, socially it creates this unity among the boys and in the yeshiva that can't be replicated. But even academically, it practically doubles the number of shiurim that your 9th or 10th grader or your 11th and 12th grader could be in. So the shiur is that the child is placed in, your son or my son is placed in, is based on his learning style, his background, his abilities, and not strictly by the grade that he's in. And that's just huge, because it really, the shiur fits the kid. The shiur doesn't just fit the class that he's in. So I just didn't want to, I wanted to just amplify on that.
Okay, great, thank you. So, there are more questions coming in, and we're saving all the questions. We've run out of time for today, but do know that your questions are being collected, and we will get to them throughout the admissions process. I want to thank our panelists so much for coming today, and for all of you from tuning in from home. I'm now going to let Rabbi Edelman come up to the podium for the prize drawing.
Thank you. All right, everyone, and now the moment that many of you have been waiting for, our live drawing. So I'm going to ask everyone to please locate those yellow tickets that you received either by mail or this morning at our drive-thru, and take them out, and I will reach into this bucket and pull out a ticket, mixing it up a little bit, for our first prize. The first prize is half off of your TABC 9th grade registration. The value is $750, as well as a limited Adidas zip-up. There you go. And just, here we go. Here's the winning ticket. I'm going to read it twice. The number is 637455. Once again, 637455. That is your first place winner. And now I will pull out the second place winning ticket. The prize for this is a free application fee valued at $150, and of course, the limited Adidas zip-up sweatshirt. And here we go, the winning ticket. 637556. 637556. Hatzlacha to all, good luck to all, and in order to redeem your prizes, you must email a photo of your ticket by 1 p.m. today.
Please take a moment, look for your tickets, and we will be right back with you. What a great panel. Thank you so much for joining us today. If for some reason we didn't have time to answer all your questions, you can always email us at admissions@tabc.org.
You can also join us at one of our informational parlor meetings, which will take place in the coming weeks. Please check our website and your email for more details.
Many of you have already completed your online application. If you have not yet done so, the application can be found on our website at tabc.org/apply. The deadline to submit your application to TABC is December 6th. However, interview slots are on a first-come, first-served basis. it's definitely not too early to apply.
In the meantime, we wish all of you a wonderfully memorable 8th grade experience and look forward to seeing you at an upcoming parlor meeting or a future recruitment event.
Bye.
Bye.